41:47 left on the camera. All right. It's a good day it's a great day for a great day. Thank you, God. I love you.
I could stick around.
Hare Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Chapter 11. When ignorance is gone, truth and joy prevail. May peace prevail. As age advances, where are one's lustful thoughts? When the water is dried up, where is the lake? When health declines, where are one's family and followers? When the truth is realized, where is this changing world? Wow. As within, so without. When the truth is realized, there is no other way. The world that we have been made to believe that the world is in this state and it is out of our control. But when the truth is realized, love will be reflected throughout infinity. There is no other way. It just doesn't, this is the way that the world works. If everyone is love, then everything is love. When one is young and the senses are extrovert, and the mind is turbulent with lustful thoughts, one indulges in sensual pleasures for happiness. No one has ever instructed us how to control the mind. The Kati Upanishad describes the senses as horses yoked to the mind. The mind is the chariot. If horses are not properly trained, what will happen to the chariot? The five senses are like the five horses pulling the mind in different directions. The eyes want to see this, the ears want to hear that, the nose wants to smell this, and the tongue wants to taste that. The skin wants to touch. Thus, the mind is going in divergent ways. If one is not trained from childhood to control the mind, it will naturally get diverted and overpowered by the senses. As old age approaches, slowly all other attachments and attractions naturally wither away. The body loses its vitality and vigor and becomes incapacitated. However, it is interesting to note that the human mind still wants those pleasures even though the body is unfit. The desires do not die. They stay in the mind. So how could you expect to go to heaven, to go to the kingdom of God, if the desires still exist? The desires do not die. They stay in the mind. I once knew an old woman who had no teeth. It just doesn't make any sense. This idea of we're going to do the best that we can, and that way when we die, hopefully we'll get to go to heaven. That's so stupid. That's so ridiculous. That's such a wasteful way to think about your time here on this planet. If you could get to heaven while you were still here, think about how positively you could impact the world. Think about literally just your presence in a room, wherever you're sitting at. Why the fuck would we spend our whole lives living in fear of what's going to happen after we die, instead of just making the most of life? As old age approaches, slowly all other attachments and attractions naturally wither away.
Use-
However, it is interesting to note that the human mind still wants those pleasures even though the body is unfit. I'm sorry, I just woke up. That's why my voice is a little bit weird. The desires do not die. They stay in the mind. I once knew an old woman who had no teeth, but she still had the desire to eat hard, crunchy food. Because she could no longer chew it, she made it into powder form and placed it on her tongue. Thus, even though her ability to chew was gone, the desire remained. One cannot see a desire. They are not visible to the eyes. Desires are not reflected in the body. They are reflected in the mind. Hence, even if one is physically fit, the desire still remains within. Even if one is physically old. Hence, even if one is physically old, the desire still remains within and physically fit. Like, you think about that. For anybody who saw it, there's a guy named Yogi Ray, Raghunath. Raghunath is his more kind of, I don't know, official name or whatever. Respected name. I don't know. But he's a great man. He owns a yogi farm in upstate New York. He came on Joe Rogan's podcast and he said, in yoga, they think about health a little bit differently. Because like you can look like you're in great shape, but are you angry about something that you haven't let go? Or are you just angry in general about a lot of things? Because if you're angry about a lot of things, then when something happens to you that wasn't expected, that seems like it's kind of a problem, there's a good chance you're going to get angry. And if you're angry, you're not healthy. So when that anger fades away and, you find a little bit more peace of mind, you'll feel healthier. And that's another, beautiful example of the power of the mind. The fact that the mind controls all. So the body physically will feel healthier when the anger has faded away. But it's still there, man. It's still there. And you're not healthy if you are angry. In the same way, if the mind and the body, if your life is being controlled by desires instead of by the self, which the self has one desire, and it is to love God. That's it. At our core, our true identity, the only thing that we want to do is love God. Because, and that seems ridiculous until you actually practice and you learn how to let go of this world, how to experience nothing but the bliss of God. So think about it. It's like I say something that sounds ridiculous to a normal human. Our only purpose, our only desire in reality is to love God. For most people, it's like, bro, what are you talking about, God? We don't even have any evidence that God is real. If you just think about it, if you open your mind for a minute and you think about it, imagine the creator of infinity itself. Like when you look up at the stars on a clear night and you see that infinite expanse of light that's dancing in the sky above us. There's a creator of all that. So if that's real, imagine how powerful, how incredible, how amazing and awe-inspiring it would be to experience the presence of that creator, that creative energy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we think like, yeah, that's cool. Maybe it would be cool to get into meditation. Like I know that a lot of that just kind of like, anyways, we think like, yeah, that does. I guess that, yeah, that'd probably be worth my time if I got into it. But I'm just saying these words, so it doesn't mean anything to you in comparison to what a personal internal experience would mean to you. What that means is that I can tell you about how incredible the presence of the creator of everything is, how incredible it feels to connect with that presence. But it doesn't mean anything unless you do it yourself. Because what we're used to is this world. We're used to thinking constantly about this world. We're used to all of our attachments being to this world. So the idea of letting everything go, it's unnatural. We've done the opposite of that since the day that we were born. When ignorance is gone, truth and joy prevail. Although you lose your ability to satisfy desires, they still remain in the mind. In other words, you may lack the capacity to enjoy sense pleasures, but the mind remains active. It continues to think a lot, and it wants to enjoy. In the next line in the verse, Sri Adi Shankara says that a lake full of water looks beautiful, and it is also useful. It is useful because people can quench their thirst with water, go fishing there, and it is home to many different fish and reptiles. As long as it is filled with water, it can be called a lake. However, if the water dries up, it cannot really be called a lake anymore. Accordingly, a young man with a young lady looks beautiful, but an old man with a young lady looks odd. Shots fired. At fucking, I don't need to say his name. As long as it is filled with water, it can be called a lake. However, if the water dries up, it cannot really be called a lake anymore. Accordingly, a young man with a young lady looks beautiful, but an old man with a young lady looks odd. So, for everything there is a time. When the lake is dried up, where is the lake? When youthful age is gone, where is the play and fun? Let that shit go. Learn to play in the self. Next, we are told that once one's treasure is reduced, one's followers will in turn reduce. When your money decreases, the appreciation, the affection, and the pleasure one gets from family and friends decreases. Slowly, the company of your friends and others will be reduced. People flock around the rich with the hope of satisfying their own selfish needs. They flatter them with the sole intent of personal gain. Oh, motherfucker. I was holding the phone with my one arm for too long, and now my bicep is all like acting a fool. The Hey, oh, yes, I love you. You're such a good boy. Hey, guys! I turn 22 tomorrow, guys. Guys and girls, friends and family. 22 years old. The master knew that oftentimes friends and relatives are only interested in the riches of a person. Thus, for this reason, when the riches decline, so does their interest. Sri Adi Shankara states 3 examples in this verse. How desires decrease with old age, how the lake disappears when the water is gone, and how the following is gone when one's riches decline. He gives us these examples to highlight how the changing world disappears when the truth is known. Wow. Think about it, everything in this world is changing 100% of the time. But the feeling that you get Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. That frequency is constant. You could not change it no matter what you tried. I love you.